are you behaving a boss? Means like it is a negative word actually. So and but then we had many good people also as the masters. Sometimes some people have very good parents, like who act very maturely, and some people have very authoritative parents also. And sometimes, like we have in our work environment also, so good and bad bosses, we have always come across in our life. So now, another problem that is there is everyone want to become boss, and this is a picture. I was just when I was searching in the internet, so I got this one. Be your own boss. Tired of working for someone else's dreams. A new world awaits you. You can become your own boss, right? So if there is so much of tension, like you become your own boss. So, and people think that if you have complete independence, you can become happy. But unfortunately, it is not so. So it actually increases our problem. So, and then why people want to actually become boss? So there is some important things. It feels nice to have control over people and things, and then being subordinate is not that great. Servant is not a word of pride, and also we need to listen to somebody's dictations. In fact, you will be surprised. This thing is there even amongst the gods. So, like it is in Ram Leela. If you see Lakshman, he is the younger brother of Lord Rama, right? And he had to do so many things which he was not very much comfortable with, right? So he had to put Sita Maharani in Agni Pariksha, which was like he is not at all interested in doing that. And then later on he has to banish Sita, like he is the one who is supposed to go and leave her in the forest and come. So many things which like he didn't know, he was not very comfortable, but because like Bada Bhai bol raha hai, to like now he manna hi padega. So in that way, in Krishna Lila, it is mentioned, is one of this one explanation. Now, like Lakshman appears as Balaram, the elder brother, and then the Supreme Lord himself, he appears as Krishna, younger brother. So Abhi like no more listening to Bade Bhai. So now like Lakshman became the elder brother, right? So in this way, like we see that we will have our own freedom to decide what we need to do, and we can we can actually make a perfect formula for happiness and things like that. So these are all various reasons, why somebody wants to become boss, right? So now we see there is one nice shloka from Bhagavad Gita. So let's chant this particular shloka. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam Jnatva mam shanti mrichati. So here this shloka, it talks about three important qualities about the Supreme Lord. Bhoktaram. So Bhoktaram means like Bhokta. So Bhokta means what? Enjoyer. Bhog karne wala. So one who is enjoying things. Bhoktaram. And then of all the things, Yajna Tapasam means traditionally speaking, we see that we call activity as karma, right? So any activity, karma kar raha hai, like, right? So in that way, traditionally speaking, every activity was supposed to be yajna. Yajna means an activity which is meant for pleasure of Krishna, meant for pleasure of the Lord. In fact, the legalized activities are called varnashrama. So that is within that domain. So now in the Vedic times, if you ask, like, what is my duty? So first question is, who are you? Like, are you a Kshatriya? Are you a Brahmana, Vaishya? Like, who are you? And then, like, this one, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So which order of life you are in? Based on that, the roles and responsibility are defined. Just like if we go to our boss and ask, like, go in the organization. If you say, like, okay, I'm an employee of this company, so what am I supposed to do? So then they may ask, like, which project you are associated with, and which role you are associated with. Based on that, your duties can be defined. In the same way, all the duties, in the Vedic system, if you see, like any person's duty is very crystal clear, which varna he is and which ashrama he is. Based on that, his duties are crystal clearly laid out. So it is mentioned in the scriptures, Varnashrama Acharavata Pumsam, Purushena Parapuman, Vishnu Aradhite Panta, Na Anyat Tattosha Karana. So this Varnashrama Acharavata Pumsam, like Pumsam means the human beings, so they are supposed to execute Varnashrama, and for what purpose? Vishnu Aradhite Panta. For the purpose of worshipping Vishnu, for his pleasure, and Na Anyat Tattosha Karana. So there is no other reason, other than Tattosha, his satisfaction, right? So all the activities of the society were organized in such a way that it is pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So that is why here it's mentioned Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. So Yajna means an activity which is meant for pleasing the Lord, and who is enjoying? The Lord is the Bhokta, Lord is the enjoyer. And then Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the Ishvara. Ishvara means controller, and Maheshwara means like, ultimate supreme controller. Sarvaloka. Loka means, any idea what is the meaning of Loka?
Yeah, to look,
Planets.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, Loka means a place where inhabitation is possible. Right? So sometime we will take this also like the universal geography. So we have, all of you might have heard Jambudvipa. So then after that concentric circles of 7 dvipas are there. So then after that there is Manasutra mountain, a mountain called Manasutra mountain is there, and on top of it the sun actually travels. And after that there is some more tract of land. Then after that there is a mountain called Loka Aloka mountain. So within that, it is like our ring road, Bangalore. So within that is a place of Loka, where people can live, and after that is Aloka, where people cannot live. Right? So it's like Loka means a place where people can live. So that's the meaning of this one. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the proprietor of all the places of inhabitation, right? So this is also very nice. If you see, like, how many of you have seen an agreement of sale deed or something like that? No? Have you read any time sale deed? So, or even the rental agreement. No, all of you might have executed a rental agreement with somebody, right? So in that it will be written that okay, this property, this scheduled property is is meant to be enjoyed by so and so, or it is possessed by so and so, and it is meant to be enjoyed by so and so. So this possessor and enjoyer. So these two things are always there in even our own current legal document. Also, this thing is there. So the very same thing is there here also. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Sashimukku, you can go a little further and speak.
Would you be in the third floor?
He's here, huh? Oh, okay. Here and here. So, anyways, so this, what is that? The Bhoktaram. So he's the enjoyer and he's the proprietor. And then Suhritam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities, right? And then Jnatva, so one who understands this fact, Shanti Mrichati, he can actually be at peace, right? So one who's not understanding this, acting against it, is called an atheist, and he will not be at peace at any point in time, right? So this is Bhoktaram. So if I think that I am the enjoyer and everything that I possess should be meant for my enjoyment, so then I'll be in anxiety. I have to be in anxiety. And then Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, if I think that all the property belongs to me, and then a person who has lot of property, lot of wealth, he is always in constant tension. He like, kab ye sab nikal jayega, So to maintain the status quo is a very, very difficult task actually. Like Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. And then Suhritam Sarvabhutanam. If somebody thinks I am the best well-wishing friend of all living entities, then he also becomes an atheist. Why he becomes an atheist? If I am friend of all living entities, why should I be an atheist? No, I am a nice person. So, but according to this logic, anybody opposes these three things, so he is supposed to be an atheist.
He thought he will be superior, so. He thought he will be superior.
So actually, see, the living entities, all of us are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. All of us are like, in fact, Krishna mentions that he is the seed-giving father of all the living entities, right? So, and when we say that some living entities who are children of God, no, I say that no, I take care of them. No, I know what is good for them. So then it is not very nice. So the Lord created us and He knows what is good for us. And we can act as a servant and help all the living entities, that's okay. But disconnecting Him on our own, next time, so like disconnecting Him, no, we just take care of them like, by our own. So then it is not very good. So it is just like you go to a house and then say that, like, no, your child, I'll take care of your child. No, I'll take care of everything of your child. So then the parent will say, like, no, who are you to take care? I'm there to take care. Right? So in the same way, like all the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. No, all of them are energy of Krishna. So Krishna himself mentions that, aham bija pratapida, sarva yoneshu kaunteya, aham bija pratapida. So like I am the seed giving father of all the living entities. And he has the right to decide what is good for us and what is not good for us. And if we want to help anybody, so we need to ask Krishna, saying, see, I want to help one of your child. How should I do that? Right? So then, according to the scriptures, basically it is according to the scriptures. Even if I want to help somebody, I want to do it according to the scriptures. Otherwise, it is not a proper way of helping actually. So, in this way, we see that these three elements are there. So, this is essentially the definition of God, who is the ultimate boss. So, now this also becomes a problem. Like, many of us, or like many people in the world, like they all want to become boss. And here the problem is like the ultimate position of boss is already occupied. So, we will see a little bit more about this ultimate position of the boss. So, if God is the ultimate boss, so then this important question that comes, is he a person or is he an energy? No, this is a very, very important question. So, what is your opinion about this?
Energy.
Okay. Who will say energy? Okay, one. Hey, एक ही गाना. तो ठीक है. Chorus में sound आया था अभी एक ही हाथ उठा रहा है. Who will say is a person? अरे वोट ही नहीं एक हाथ उठाया वो भी नीचे कर दिया. आपका नाम वो? सत्यम. हाँ तो ये जो बोल रहे सत्यम होगा. So okay. So let us have a discussion. So why we consider him to be an energy?
Because he lives in all living beings.
Yeah.
So that if he is a person, he can't live in all. If he is an energy, like God particle is there, Atma soul is there. Soul is a part of God. So in the way of soul, he is living in all living bodies. So he is one kind of energy.
Okay. Any other?
Person may have a specific structure, but all doesn't have one.
Okay, specific structure. I think I need to have a paper pen. Or somebody can help me with writing. Then later I can ask. We can help. So energy, like 2 columns you can make. Or we can display it here also. Just a minute, I'll just open. So there, duplicate. Okay. So energy and person. So for energy, what is the first point that was mentioned? No. I want to recollect the 2 points. Then
Yeah,
after that.
energy. He in the way of energy, he lives in all living beings.
Okay. He lives in all. Okay. Then
No specific physical structure.
physical structure. Okay. Physical structure is a limitation.
Cannot die.
So he is. Okay.
Different physical structures, so many structures are there.
God displays many physical. So what do you mean by that?
I think he is both, like person energy, both he can be both.
Amazing. तो नया है क्या गया?
Because
Both. Okay. So,
Or cannot categorize in this. Can be also possible.
अभी चौथा नहीं खोलूंगा. Okay. Okay. It is visible to the no.
Could you
Okay.
From scientific definition, like of energy, where energy can either be destroyed or it can be converted from one form to another. So, like God, person can be destroyed, he can be destroyed, but energy is God, so he can't be destroyed, he can be converted from one form to another.
Okay. So, energy. ठीक है. So, this energies cannot be destroyed. Okay. So, God must be energy. Then? अरे थोड़ा तो पर्सन के लिए भी कुछ बोलिए ना.
Since he is a seed giving father, so he is a person.
हाँ?
Since he is a seed giving father, so he is a person.
Okay. Since okay, so ठीक है.
Person contains diseases, aging, and
Okay.
which is there and not there in energy.
Okay. 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 So
When God is known to have all wealth, he is the most, so how can he be categorized into energy?
okay.
He
Okay.
has all wealth, he is the most beautiful, and all the six qualities. Like,
Okay. God has no all wealth. Energy cannot possess the wealth.
God can itself do things, so he must have gross body, so he should be person as well.
Okay. तो कुछ काम करने के लिए क्रॉस बॉडी चाहिए. Okay.
तो person हो सकता है.
Okay.
Energy can't do the work itself.
हाँ. He does work, so he must be person. Okay. Nice. Any other thing? Huh?
I'm just asking, like, for the person we need to speak.
No, whatever you have, whatever is your conviction, you speak for me. अभी चैरिटी नहीं कर रहे, लेकिन अपना conviction बताइए. Okay. So some of the things, if you see the Vedic scriptures, they talk about this absolute truths, right? So you all can come a little closer. So the Vedic scriptures, they actually talk about this God as the supreme absolute truth, no, or supreme person, and so many different words they actually use. No, Brahman, no, so Parabrahman, no, all these words are used, right? So, like one of the definitions of this supreme absolute truth, this is the ultimate subject matter of discussion. All the Vedic scriptures is talking about this one aspect of who's the absolute truth and what is he all about and what is this entity is all about, and how this one entity is actually manifesting all the various things which are there in the creation. So one of the definitions is that ekameva advitiyat. So this absolute truth is one, and there is no second entity that exists, right? So that means in the whole creation there is only one entity that exists, and that is this absolute truth, and nothing else actually exists. So this is one of the Vedic statements. So we have to take it like equations, mathematical equations, right? So you will have so many variables, like the multiple equations you get, so you can actually solve and get the results to it, right? So this is one. Another definition that is given is Ekadesha Sthita Shagner Jyotsna Vistarina Yata. So just like Ekadesha Sthita Shagner, Agni, no, is situated in one place, Ekadesha Sthita. And then Jyotsna Vistarina, no, it is Jyoti, is like Jyoti ko Vistar karte, like no, the light has been dissipated in so many different directions. Just like this tube light, no, it is there in one place, but it is illuminating the whole room. So Ekadesha Sthita Shagner Jyotsna Vistarina Yata Parasya Brahmana Shakti. No, this Parasya Brahman, the Parabrahman, the Supreme Absolute Truth. So it has energies. No, Parasya Brahmana Shakti. Etedam Akilam Jagat. No, so the whole creation is nothing but the expansion of the energies of this one Absolute Truth. Right. So that is also one of the definitions. So you all know any definition from the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita about the God? So one of the definitions we saw now also, Bhoktaram, Yajna Tapasham, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So he's the enjoyer, and he is the proprietor of everything, and he's the friend of all living entities, right? So this is also one of the definitions of God, right? And then another definition is in Bhagavad Gita itself it is there. Anumanta, Upatrishta, Bharta, Bhokta, Manishina. So like Anumanta means what? Huh? One who is sanctioning, Anubhuti dene wala. So Anumanta, Upadrishta.
Who sees what is going, observer.
Overseer, observer. So karma kaise milta hai? Like, how do we get our karma? Somebody has to oversee, na? Somebody has to keep the account, like, what is happening, what is not happening. So he is doing this role of, like, Bharta.
Feeding all the.
So he is the maintainer. Bhokta. Yes, that is, he is the enjoyer of all the activities that is happening, right? So even in this one also, in the traditional families also, if you see anybody goes to work, and he earns something, he will bring, I know some of my friends, like their father, one of my friend's father, so even when he was earning, even when he was married and had children, so he would give all the earnings to the grandfather, means his father. And then he decides, what needs to be done in the home, right? So, and he maintains, and he is the one who gets all the earnings, like that. So in the same way, like here also, God's picture is that, Bharta and Bhokta. He is the maintainer and he is the enjoyer. There is another nice definition is there about the Supreme Absolute Truth. So it is Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So Nityo Nityanam means what? So Nitya means like eternal beings. All the soul is eternal. It doesn't have a beginning, manufacture date and expiry date. The soul is it exists forever. So in that, amongst all of us are souls. So here it is mentioned Nityo Nityanam. So like Nityanam means amongst the many eternal beings, there is one eternal being is there. And Chetanas Chetananam. So like amongst the all conscious beings, there is one conscious being is there. So what is that guy is doing? Eko, this one person, Eko, Bahunam. So Bahu means like many. Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadati Kaman. Dadati means what? To give. Dadati means to give. Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadati Kaman. So this one entity is fulfilling the desires and needs of all other entities. So one entity is there who is superior, and that entity is fulfilling the needs and desires of Kama. Kama means like desires. So he is fulfilling the needs and desires of so many different entities, right? So these are all different definitions of God, like explanations about that entity is there. So now we'll take a vote again, after discussing so much. Like, how many of you say God is an energy? Okay.
I'd say
Energy, okay. ठीक है? How many of you say God is a person? ठीक है, तो पिछली बार आप हाथ उठाए थे, हाँ? दोनों बार, ठीक है? Next category is both. How many of you say it is both? अरे good होता है. So this is nice. ठीक है. So now let us see. Okay, let us get back to the presentation. Okay, we'll also see if I can say PC screen. External. It is displayed there, but it is not displayed here. Oh, I will show slideshow. Some problems happened. I'm not able to see.
So close the presentation, then again start.
A second. This is the Indian methodology of कुछ काम नहीं कर रहे हो तो close and restart. Yeah, कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है, like, you know, we call
It
the
works also.
it works also.
किया था मिशन मंगल
Huh?
मिशन मंगल में किया था ना
What is it?
उसको दिखा था, किया तो फिर नहीं किया था, किसको पता लगा? मूवी था।
पूरा सैटेलाइट को ही वो जो ऊपर घूम रहा था उसको
वो
सिस्टम रिस्टार्ट
In Mission Mangal, one picture is there.
Uh-huh.
True fact. Actually, the satellite stopped working because stop connection. So they shut down whole system and start again. Then it's all.
ठीक है. So now we see a person or energy. So, you know, some of the scriptural quotes also we see. God created mankind in His own image. You know, this is from, you know, biblical reference. So, like human form, like, is created based on the image of God. It is not that humans have created God based on their own image. No, the reverse is mentioned here. And then this is another very, very important shloka, now, which talks about the supreme absolute truth and what is its position, like that. So it mentions vadanti tat tattvavidas. No, tattvavid means with means knower, no, knowledgeable people. And tattvavid, tattva means this supreme absolute truth or God. No, tattva means truth, no, absolute truth. So so these are all the words that are used, no, tattva, and then satyam param, no, parabrahman, brahman, no, these are the words that are used for the representing God in the Vedic scriptures. So now vadanti means they speak, no, vadanti tat tattvavidas. So tat means here it is talking about the supreme Lord. So, like, who are speaking here? The learned people, and who know about what is God, they actually speak about Him, no? And what do they speak? Tattvam yajnanam advayam. So this supreme absolute truth is a dvaya. No, dvaya means what? Two. Advaya means singular. तीन चार भी हो सकते हैं. So but here the essential meaning that comes is advaya, because, you know, ekameva advitiyad we saw. There is another statement that is there. So putting these two equations, we can actually come to the conclusion it is one. Right? So tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti satyate. So brahma iti paramatma iti bhagavan iti satyate. So the understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth or understanding of God comes in three different levels, and all these three levels are correct. No. So first is Brahma iti, and second is Paramatma iti, and third one is Bhagavan iti. No, Sabhyati. So like the learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. So these are the three different this ones. So now to give an understanding, Brahman means what? That entity which exists everywhere. No, it talks about the existential aspect of the Supreme Lord. So that entity which exists everywhere, and it is full of bliss, and all the all the this is like all pervasive entity. No, that is Brahman, and it is not created any point in time. It is not destroyed any point in time. It is a full state of bliss and things like that. And then second is Paramatma. So Paramatma means that entity which exists everywhere, but also it is knowledgeable, and this entity can control things. That is called the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And then third feature is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan means like that entity which exists everywhere, and it knows everything and controls everything. And this Supreme Absolute Truth also is like a person, who is like very merciful and lovable entity, and he has wonderful leelas, that is performed, and then he provides, for every living entity. He is the best friend of all living entities. So these are all personal features, they are also there. So this is the Bhagavan feature. So first is existential, second is knowing and controlling, and third is the wonderful qualities, like an guna and leela, of this entity. So now this is also very much tightly connected to the famous three words, Sat, Chit, Ananda. So Sat means what? Sat means the existential aspect of this one. Chit means the knowledge. So knowledge comes with the control also. And then Ananda is bliss. Bliss actually we experience in the association of a person, right? So when we associate with a particular person, then we actually exchange a kind of relationship, and that brings about the bliss, right? So now we see that Sat, Chit and Ananda. So that also is referring to this Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So these are the three different levels of understanding the Supreme God, right? And we're just having an idea of this on this picture. We see the same mountain at a far distant place. It looks like a green cover or a blue cover, right? So, and then when you go closer, so the mountain also has details. It has plants, it has animals, it has houses and things like that. So some people are maybe living there and things like that. So this is details. So when you go closer, you get a different picture of this one, and when you are far, you get a different picture of the same mountain, right? And then mountain at a distance looks like a green sheet. When we get closer, we get a little more clarity, of trees and rocks. And when we enter inside, we find animals and people living there, right? And then there is another example that is given in the scriptures, is the sun. So the sun, if you see the first picture, you see that there is sun rays are actually penetrating. And when the first rays of sun comes inside, what we will say, Suraj aa gaya. Suraj aa gaya matlab पूरा सूर्योदय अंदर आ गए तो रूम जल जाएगा. We cannot stay in the room. So it is only the light or this one sun rays has actually come inside. And there is sun planet, that is there, so which is actually the source of all the energy. And there is also the personality called Vivaswan. In the Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned, Vivaswan Manave Praha Manurikshvakave Pravit, right? So Krishna mentions, this knowledge originally was given to the sun god Vivaswan, right? So so sun god Vivaswan. So this the sun planet is also directed by a personality called Vivaswan, right? So now we see that understanding of sun in three different levels. Sun means what? The sun rays also can be called as sun, and the planet sun also can be called as sun, and the controlling deity, who's there, he also can be called as sun, Suryadev, right? So now we see any foreign personality, any representative of some foreign country, he comes and does something, then हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे, ये पाकिस्तान ने ऐसा कर दिया, So Pakistan देश ऐसा उठ के आया क्या? नहीं, उधर से एक representation आया and he actually did something and we tell that Pakistan ने ऐसा कर दिया. You know? So ऐसा ही like अगर सूर्यदेव कुछ किया तो like सूरज ने ऐसा कर दिया. So like that it can come to that understanding. So this is also like the three ways we can perceive the sun rays, the sun globe, and the presiding deity of the sun, Vivaswan, Suryadev. So this is three different levels of understanding. In the same way, the Supreme Lord can also be understood as like Brahman, the impersonal light, and then Paramatma, who is present in every single atom, every single entity, and he directs. The definition of Paramatma is mentioned as Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani, Yantarudani Maya. He who directs the wanderings of every living entity. During Corona time, when we were giving this, we were telling about even coronavirus, which virus will go to whom? He directs. Amazing direction. It is not that Bhagavan ne Srishti bana diya. He created this one, and then now he is helpless. Abhi virus aa raha hai, abhi ye aa raha hai, terrorist aa raha hai, he doesn't have any control, and things are going on like that. No, it is not like that. What is the definition that we have heard about the blade of grass? Anybody remembers? Not even a blade of grass moves without his sanction, right? So then how can maybe virus is little more smaller, so it moves without his sanction? No, everything is perfectly controlled by him, right? So nothing is going as a bouncer for the Lord. सब कुछ उनके control में है. Maybe things are going as a bouncer for us, but for him nothing is going as a bouncer. Everything is perfectly under his control. So this Paramatma, feature of the Lord, he actually controls and maintains the whole creation. And the Supreme Person, Bhagavan. So this different aspects are there. So now let's try to get back to our table and see. Okay. Duplicate. So now we see that the scriptures talk that this Supreme Absolute Truth is a person and also as a light. So both, those who agreed for both, it is good. So he is actually both. So but primarily he is a person. Primarily he is a person and he has the other features. Also it is there. So now let's try to see these arguments. Like he lives in all beings, so he cannot be a person. He lives in all beings, so he cannot be a person. So can a person live everywhere? Is it possible? No? Physically he cannot. So if you see the yoga siddhis, one of the yoga siddhi is that a yogi can expand himself up to the level of 9 different forms and simultaneously he can do 9 different activities. So that is a normal person like you and me who perfects the yoga, he can actually exhibit this siddhi. And the Lord is called as Yogeshwara. He can expand into unlimited forms, right? So that is one of the. So our understanding is because we are always limited to one particular form. So अगर व्यक्ति होगा तो एक group में रहना पड़ेगा. So that is our limited understanding. So but actually speaking, a person can have multiple forms and simultaneously he can do multiple things. That is possible for an accomplished yogi, and how much more for the Supreme Lord himself, right? So that is one aspect. And then physical structure is a limitation. So he is an energy. So the structure that we have is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and we have a limitation. And why? Because this structure, what we have, is a punishment for us. In fact, it is an engagement. It is kind of a prison house where the soul is put. But actually speaking, the soul has amazing capacities. Even the soul can travel with the speed of mind. The soul can the soul cannot be cut into pieces and all those things. In the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so much elaborate description of the soul is there. So the soul is
Sahasra Balagre.
that is the size of the soul.
10,000 pieces of top of hair.
Tip of the hair. So that is there. The size, even that much size of soul, it can move the body of an elephant.
Yeah.
And if you see, even like the conception of Vedic, this one is that mountains, they are also living entities. The rivers, they are also living entities. And in the Vedic conception, all these things were addressed as person, right? So like all our Indian rivers have the names, like human names, right? So okay, like we can argue about, okay, fine, no, just as I like a human image देने के लिए किया था, no, this is just some kind of make-believe system. But what has happened now, to consider this natural resources only as resources, so it has like led to exploitation. People have started exploiting these natural resources. So in the Vedic culture, like let's first think that okay, these are all natural resources, but simply given the name of human beings. So just by giving this, like what is the benefit that we have got? People have developed, okay, this is our mother, this river is a mother, and like we should not spoil the river. We should actually maintain the natural resources, because they are all like, we have, just like we serve our parents, in the same way, like these natural entities were also given that kind of respect actually. So now, just considering them as resources, so immediately the thought comes like, jitna jada exploit kar sakte hain, how much to exploit these resources. So this is one thing. The materialism is not only has created, it has taken away from our actuality, but it also has created havoc in the system, right? So trees, trees were actually looked upon as persons, and people used to people told that okay, these people are completely gone case. They worship trees also, and they say like okay, trees give fruits and flowers and things like that. So natural resources are like exploit karo, so then you exploit by the way of manipulating the genes of the this one, and then it produces that genetically modified seeds and stuff like that, and it produces so many diseases later on, right? So that becomes a problem. And also like this like afforestation, cutting off so much of trees and then making like the global warming and stuff like that. It is all because we have shifted from the Vedic conception, wherein like we looked upon all these entities as somewhere we are getting our benefit and we should respect them, and we should actually like give them proper respect. So human image, like we can say okay, human image was attached to it, but actuality, if you see, everything is directed by soul. Anywhere some action is there, the action cannot happen in matter. Matter is a dead entity, it cannot create any action. It requires spirit to move things. Anywhere some action is there. So now we see that every entity that is there, everything is pointed as like it is a living entity. Even the mountains have life, the rivers have life. Like many, like all other different entities, whatever we see, like everything has life, and they all have different characteristics and things like that, right? So this physical structure that we talk about. So if you think that like only the human beings, this is how a living entity can be. So we also talk about the Mother Earth. We talk about Mother Earth. So that is also one living entity who's serving the role of Prithvi. So that is also one living entity. So only thing is this living entity's body is so huge. So just like ant ka bhi body hota hai, that is also same living entity is only moving. And human body is there, little more bigger, and elephant body is there, and then the body like Earth is there, So that is also a living entity, which is actually serving at a different capacity. So like living entity it doesn't have a structural limitation. It is only because we are put into this one. The soul has unlimited capacity. He has like really, really very powerful capacity, and physical structure is not at all a limitation, right? And the Lord is called as the super soul, or the like bigger soul. So even a small soul can move so many things. Small soul can move the body of an elephant. A big soul can do so many things actually. So he doesn't have the limitation of the structure actually. He's free from the limitation of structure. And also, if you see, as we had discussed this point, that Ekadesh is start there. The light is present in one, the fire is present in one place, and light is distributed. In the same way, the Lord is present in one place, but then his energies are distributed. So what are his energies? Panchabhuta is his energy. So whole of material energy is his energy, and he can use it as he wants. And then the living entities, we are also, like energy of the Lord. We are called as Prakriti. So like this one, Apareya Mitastvanyam Prakritim Viddhime Param Jiva Bhuta. Jiva means the living entity, the soul. Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho Edam Darite Jahat. So the living entity is also an energy of Krishna, right? So now we see that this one entity, it is not dealing with anything external. Everything that Supreme Absolute Truth is dealing with is his own energies only. उसका कुछ external नहीं है. हमको external हो सकता है. So I am there and this laptop is there and this bead bag is there and you are there. So for me, like something outside me is there. But for the Lord, there is nothing outside him. Essentially everything is he and his energies. That's all. So it is something like this tube light and this roshni. So it is like it is its own emanation. Right? So in that way, like for Lord, there is nothing limitation. Everything that exists is he and his energies. That's all. So in that way, like he doesn't have a physical limitation or something like that. And energy cannot be destroyed, so God must be energy. So this is also from our material definition, whatever our great scientists have given. So energy cannot be destroyed, the soul also cannot be destroyed. So if energy cannot be destroyed, so possessor of the energy, the energetic, he can also be not be destroyed, right? So that is the logic. So like we see that the Lord is the source of unlimited energy. So whenever we call energy, immediately what is the source of this energy? Like there is a source of the energy. Without source, energy doesn't come just like that. So we say that like this object is moved from this place to that place. So then like कोई पूछा तो like कैसा move हुआ तो कुछ energy act हुआ kinetic energy and mechanical energy कुछ तो act हुआ अरे वो सब ठीक है like कौन energy apply किया who applied that energy over there, right? So some person must be there. You cannot give like if somebody murdered somebody है ना ऐसे ही कुछ energy आके like चाकू अंदर घुसा दिया. No, it cannot be possible. Who did that energy? Who is the possessor of that energy? And he will be held accused, right? So in the same way, energy always means an energetic. Energy always like comes with this one of some possessor of the energy, right? So energy cannot be destroyed. That means the energetic, the Supreme Lord, cannot also be destroyed. So and person must contain diseases. So that is because like we have this body, we have this diseases and things like that. So even if we get liberation and we don't have this body, so we will not get no diseases. So this birth, death, old age and disease are pertaining to this body. So the soul in itself, it doesn't have, it doesn't get affected by these things. So you take birth, the same soul like ऐसे continue होता है. And then you die, still the soul actually passes on to another body. So like dehi nosmi neta dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara Tata dehankara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati, right? So an intelligent person, he doesn't get bewildered by this change. The same soul, it is there in the child's body, it is there in the youth body, it is there in the old person's body, and at the point of death, the same soul travels to another body. So the soul doesn't get into any transformation, only body gets into transformation. So like doesn't necessarily, actual person is soul, and soul never gets any disease. In fact, that is the problem that Arjuna also had. Like, how can I kill all these people? So then Krishna says, like, actual person is the soul and you cannot possibly kill him. So actual person is the soul and he cannot possibly have disease. So if an ordinary soul cannot have disease, then how can the super soul have disease? So he doesn't have any this one. And then he is a seed-giving father, so he must be a person. So that's a good this one. And God is the possessor of all wealth, all knowledge, all beauty and things like that. So how can an energy be beautiful? So a person must be there, right? So, and then he does work, so he must be a person. So, and then the Lord has many forms. This is also very nice. In one of the Vedic, this one aphorism, it is mentioned, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam, Purana Purusham, Navayoganam cha. So Vedesh Durlabam, Adurlabam, Atma Bhakto, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this is like Advaitam. So Advaita, so means like he is not two entities. Advaitam, Achyuta. He doesn't fall from his position, or like nothing is impossible for him. No, he is Achyuta. So Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim. He doesn't have an origin, no, like Anadim, Ananta Rupam. So he has many different forms. So it is Advaita, it is not two entities, it's only one entity, but he has innumerable forms. That one entity has innumerable forms, right? So it is not that when like Lord appears as Varaha is a different person, and then Narsimha is a different person. It's not like that. So the Vedic scholars, they actually explain that moon is there. So moon has different phases, right? So from Amavasya to Paurnami, it has different phases. So it looks like gradually it appears to be growing, right? So is it different moon of different shapes is being kept every day? No, it is the same moon, right? So it chooses to display certain portion of its existence. In the same way, when the Lord chooses to display certain portion of his qualities, it is called a particular avatar, and he manifests in a particular form, and then it appears to be complete. Right? So in this way, like he has unlimited forms, no? Anantarupam. And Adyam, so he is the first person, and then Purana Purusham, he is the oldest person. Purusham, no, Purusham again, it's a word used for person, right? So Purana Purusham, Adyam Purana Purusham, Navayavanam cha. And Purana Purusham means like he must be really old person. Matlab, like no, kuch, what is that? He must be having some walking stick, and he must be having difficulty in his walking, and all wrinkled faces and things like that. No, he is like ever youthful, Navayavanam cha. So he is always the supreme absolute truth. His age is never beyond 16 to 20. You know, so when Krishna, he was performing his pastimes, so like he was an equal age like Arjuna, and like no equal age of that. So they were close to some 80, 90 years old at that time. No, so it was a previous age, like the people used to live for 1,000 years. No, and in Kali Yuga it is only 100. So like Bhishma was considered to be like somewhere around 400 to 500 years of age. You know, when the battle of HARIKSETRA was happening, he was like really very powerful person. No, so it's like if people are living for 1,000 years, so 500 years is like no 50 saal ki. It is like in that scale, it is like not very big actually. So now, like they were all like with you know, what is that, Arjuna, Bhima, and all. If you see their depiction, you know, they are having like huge, broad shoulders and like no big biceps and things like that. And Krishna is like all like tender parts. So he looks like a 16-year-old boy only. You know, that is why Jarasandha and Bhima, Arjuna, and this one Krishna goes. He says like, no, this guy to like. No, ये भाग के गया मेरे से इनसे तो लड़ाई नहीं करूँगा मैं. He ran away from me, and then like many times the demons actually see, अरे like ये तो बहुत मासूम है. He's like, he looks like a tender boy, you know, अभी तक manhood भी नहीं आया इसका, you know. So how can I contend with him? Like it is not a fair match. No, in fact when when Krishna came to the wrestling arena of Kamsa, even then, so when this match was happening and in the crowds, people were talking, this is like not at all a proper match. No, other में चल रहा है इधर. So equal people should actually wrestle. No, not that like somebody powerful and कोई बच्चे को भेज दिया उधर. So it is not very fair. Like no, people are talking कि like no, this is not at all a fair match. These people are like very young and like they're no, so like a small boys, and how can they be allowed to match like this with the Chanur and Mushti? So like this, we see that the Lord, he doesn't age. No, his aging actually is only till when he performs his pastimes in the earth, like from childhood to youth. That's all. No, youth ka baad mein kuch nahi hai. No, unka like the age transformation doesn't happen. And in the spiritual world, he is always in the like 16-year-old this one. So in the spiritual world, there is no like Janmashtami, and there is no like Janam Leela and things like that. No, there's only it's always youthful pastimes, right? And then yeah, he has many forms, and yeah, like he is both the person and the energy, right? So this both the features are there, and primarily he is a person. Okay. So the Lord has these different features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And here from Bhagavad Gita, let's try to chant the shloka. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम्
ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम्
अमृतस्यावस्य च
अमृतस्यावस्य च
शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य
शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य
सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च
सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च.
So the Lord, the primary thing that we want to mention here is Brahmanohi Pratishtha Aham. So like the Lord says, the Brahman or this impersonal Brahma Jyoti is Pratishtha Aham, means like I am the basis or I am the foundation of this Brahma Jyoti, right? So that is one aspect. So the aspect of the impersonal aspect is actually dependent on the personal aspect of the Lord, right? So then this is also a very nice shloka from Brahma Samhita. Like try to chant after me. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti.
Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti.
Kote svashesha vasudadi vibhuti binnam.
Koti svashesha vasudadi vibhuti.
Tad brahma nishkalam anantam asesha bhutam.
Tad brahma nishkalam anantam asesha bhutam.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
So this is a prayer by Lord Brahma. He says, Yasya Prabha. Yasya means like whose, no? Like Prabha means the light. Yasya Prabha. So like that Supreme Absolute Truth's, effulgence. Prabhavato, like Jagadanda Koti. So there are many Jagadanda, the universes, no? Like the many universes that is existing on this Brahma Jyoti, no? And what is this Brahma Jyoti? Yasya Prabha, no? His effulgence, that is. Koti Svashesha Vasudadi. Vasudha means, anybody knows the word Vasudha?
Vasudha Prithvi.
Prithvi. So Koti Svashesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Vinnam. So many planets, no, are existing on this on this Brahma Jyoti. And Tat Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence, no, Yasya Prabha, whose effulgence is the source of non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from infinity of glories of mundane universe, appears as the invisible, infinite, limitless truth. So basically that this is a different kind of English that is used. So basically, infinite number of universes actually exist, in this Brahman, and that Brahman is nothing but the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Lord, Yasya Prabha, his bodily effulgence actually. And then, in fact, this is a question even Arjuna asked. Arjuna specifically asked this question to Lord Krishna. So let's chant this shloka. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Evam satata yuktaye.
Evam satata yuktaye.
Bhaktastvam paripasate.
Bhaktastvam paripasate.
Echapaksharam apyaktam.
Echapaksharam apyaktam.
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
Okay, so here Arjuna is asking, Evam satata yuktaye bhaktastvam paripasate. Upasana means to worship. So bhaktastvam, tvam means like you. So the devotees, they actually worship you as a person. Satata yukta, always engaged in your service. So is that right? Or echapi aksharam avyaktam. Aksharam, kshara means to destroy. Akshara means that is indestructible. Avyaktam. Vyakti means what? Person. Avyaktam means impersonal, right? Energy. So aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Tesha means amongst these, ke yoga vittamaha. So like who is considered to be the best of the yogis? Who is worshipping your personal form, like rendering service unto you, or who is actually meditating on that indestructible, impersonal energy? Which is the the same question that we had put. Arjuna asked this question in this one to Krishna. So, ये तो question already FAQ में है. So, like Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? And then the Lord says, very nice shloka, let's repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Maya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetas Teme yukta tamamataha. So Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their mind on my personal form, my avesha, like somebody who's very much like attached to me, mano yema. So and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So those who are actually worshipping me as a person, so they are considered to be most perfect. And then the Lord says, Kleshodikattarastesham Avyakta Sattachetesam Avyakta Higatur Dukkam Dehavabhir Avapyate. So on the other hand, Klesha Adhikattara. Klesha means what? Miseries. Klesha Adhikattaras. So it only increases the misery. Avyakta Ashakta. So in the previous shloka it was Maya Shakta. Maya Shakta means like people who are absorbed in my thought. And then like Avyakta Ashakta means people who are like imagining the Supreme Absolute Truth as Avyakta. It's not Vyakti, it's impersonal energy. So not a person. So like people who have the attachment to the impersonal form of the Supreme Truth, Supreme Absolute Truth. So for them, avyakta hi gatir dukkham, dehavaptiravaprite. So for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Right? So this is the personal conclusion of the Supreme Lord Himself. Right? So here we pause today's discussion and just to give a glimpse what is going to come next. This is what is going to come next. Like, are there one God, many God, and things like that. So first we settled ki Bhagwan ek vyakti hota hai. So in this doubts, questions is there. We will try to address now. And then in the next session, so vyakti kaun hai? वो देखेंगे. So now, yeah. So any questions in this subject?
Okay, so when we used to call God, so what does it denotes? Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan?
All three are considered to be God. So Tattvam, or Supreme Absolute Truth, is, and the full complete picture of God is Bhagavan. Right? So, and a little partial picture of God is Paramatma, and a little more partial picture of God is the Brahman. Right? So Sat, Chit and Ananda, three features we saw, all three features put together is Bhagavan. And then if you remove the Ananda aspect, so then it's Paramatma. If you remove the Chit aspect, then it is called Brahman. Right? So like that. So all three factors, Sat, Chit and Ananda put together is Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So we also saw that moon wala example, no? So partial representation and then the complete representation, like that. And at the same time, the sun rays example also, for all practical purpose, when sun rays comes, this one is met. So in the same way, Brahman is also the same Supreme Absolute Truth, but one feature of it. So all the features put together is Bhagavan.
So Prabhuji, when you preach, when Kirtan is happening, so that we are doing for Bhagavan only, no? Not Paramatma or Parabrahma.
What is your conception, accordingly the result will be there. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. So, how do you approach me? Krishna says, I reciprocate in that way.
So what is authentic?
All three are authentic. All three are authentic, and the complete form is the Bhagavan form. Right?
Prabhuji, in our body, soul is there, right? So, difference between God and Atma and Paramatma is there. What is the difference? God is inside us or soul is there, right?
Yeah.
So what is difference?
There is two entities that are there. So in the Katha Upanishad it is mentioned, just like in a tree, there is a green tree, there are two birds that are there. So one bird is eating the fruits of the tree and another bird is simply witnessing, right? So like these fruits are considered to be, one fruit is called the misery, another fruit is called the happiness. So the living entity in the body, so he is the soul, Atma, he is actually trying to do various different activities. The fruits are the different activities and the result of that activity is sometimes happiness and sometimes distress. And then the Paramatma, he is not interested in these material activities. No, he is fully satisfied and he is present as Anumanta and Upadrishta. So he is present as the overseer and the permitter. No, so like that. So there are two souls that are there. And also, like if you see the this one in Bhagavad Gita itself, it is mentioned that Uddha Mula Madashakam, so that is Purushottam Yoga, right? So 15th chapter. So there it is mentioned that the soul, there are two kinds of souls, that are there. So one is the Atma and another is Paramatma. So Atma has awareness about his body, that's all. But Paramatma has awareness about everything, all the bodies. So just like, an owner may have many houses and a tenant, may occupy one of the houses. So owner has control over all the houses, but tenant has control over only his house. And the owner has control over that house also. He has the superior control, and then we have the delegated control. If you are a tenant, then we have the delegated control. Right? So in the same way, like there are two souls that are there, in every body. So one is the individual soul, who's trying to control that particular body. Another is the super soul, who's the master of every body.
So soul is a part of Paramatma, God only, a small part.
Yeah. Even the body is also part of the Lord. So these two shlokas are very, very important. 7.4 and 7.5 of Bhagavad Gita, which talks about this particular aspect that we saw, right? That a light is, a fire is there and its energy are spread out. The detail of that is mentioned in these two shlokas. Bhumir, Apa, Anala, Vaya, Kam, Mano, like Buddhi Revacha, Ahankara Mithiyamme, Binna Prakriti Ashtata. These 8 things are considered to be Binna Prakriti. Prakriti means what? Energy. So like the Supreme Lord is called as the Purusha and the Prakriti is the energy. So one of the energy is the Panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then mind, intelligence, and false ego. Right? So these 8 constitute his Binna Prakriti. Binna means separated. His external energy. And then the next sloka he says Apareyam Itaspanyam. So like this, whatever I have mentioned till now, Krishna is telling Apara. Apara means inferior. Para means superior and Apara means inferior. Apareyam Itaspanyam. Prakritim Viddhime Param. I have another energy which is superior. What is that superior energy? Jiva Bhuta, the living entities. Living entities are also energy of Krishna, but then it is superior energy of the Lord. That is why we are able to manipulate matter. So we can take the matter, we can make missionaries, we can make house, we can do so many things. Like Apareyam Itaspanyam Prakritim Viddhime Param Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho Edam Dharete Jagat. What is this living entity is doing? He is exploiting this material world. So first, whatever 8 things are mentioned, this guy is trying to exploit that. So one energy of the Lord is trying to exploit another energy of the Lord. Exploit means use, make use of. So the superior energy is trying to make utilization of the inferior energy of the Lord. So essentially speaking, there is nothing else except for the material energy and the superior energy of the Lord. Everything in this world can be defined in these 2 categories. Nothing else exists in this world apart from these 2 categories. The soul and matter. That's all. And both of it is energy of the Supreme Lord. Right?
According to these scriptures, what are the living entities?
Living entity means soul.
You said that everything in these scriptures are mentioned as living entities, mountains also living.
So like just like we are living entity, the soul, and we have a body. So in the same way, mountain also a living entity which has a huge body. So but it's like a plant, trees and plants. So they don't have, they cannot express too much of emotions, right? And then it is mentioned that in the category of the living entities in the scriptures, Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavara Laksha Vimshati, Krimaya Ruddha Sankhya. So like that, there is different categories of living entities are there. So this, like, the inert beings, they are also living entities, but they are more dull in nature.
So does nothing contain soul?
Huh?
Mountains are soul.
Everything in this world, every matter contains soul.
See, at least come se come super soul to hoga, because the Paramatma is there. The individual soul also are there. Like for example, in the Vedic scriptures, if you see, people call it as ये तो fairy tale है. This Vedic scriptures call it पर्वत उड़ रहा है, like mountain is flying, and then some monkey god has come, and some elephant god has come, and things like that. And these people don't have much idea, what all things are existing. So there is pastime of Lord Indra cutting down the wings of the mountains. Previously the mountains used to have wings. So when we talk about these things, like people say, like this is all fairy tale. So but then we see that all entities, they have the soul. Even river has a watery body. It is also a soul. It is also a person. So Ganga Mata, Saraswati Mata, we used to call them, right? And then Yamuna Mata, Kaveri Mata, like that. So they are also person, but they have a watery body. We have more earth in our body, and they have more water in their body, right?
Each atom contains.
Each atom contains soul. Each atom contains the this one. What is that? Paramatma. Not each atom is like an individual soul like us maybe there. So, but then there are different forms that are there. Like every meaningful form in this world. So, if we analyze carefully, it will also have some living characteristics. Any other question? The final note, Bhagavan व्यक्ति है कि नहीं, is a person or not? Both, and primarily is a person, right? So we are in same page, right? Anybody has any objection? ठीक है, full majority. Yeah.
The different planets, there will be a different living entity, right?
Yeah.
So we call it as they are aliens. So that aliens as God, right?
Aliens?
Aliens. So aliens are they also worship God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the material scientists, they don't know like what is it, so they call it as aliens. We call as Vivaswan, Suryadev, Chandradev, and all these personalities we know, like Kinnaras, Charanas, Vidyadharas, like and things like that. Many different this ones are there. So we have names for everybody, and these people, they don't know like who are they, so they keep one name alien. हमको तो पता है पूरा address उसका. Somebody who knows like who are they, बाजू में like कौन है पता नहीं तो ये stranger है. So if you know who is it, like बाजू में जो है like वो अरुण है, हमको पता है, like that. So these people, they don't know like who they are, and they call them as aliens. So Indra, Chandra, Varuna, like these are the personalities, they call them as aliens. कभी दिख गया होगा like.
So I have one more doubt that nobody is having authority to kill someone, right? So that tiger will kill some animal. That animal will eat that animal, right? So that so Krishna says that there is no living entity as authority to kill someone.
No, it's not like that. So it is mentioned in the scriptures as Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. So living entity subsist by eating another living entity. No, in fact, reverse is there. So, but there is this one is there, rule is there, like, the God given rule is there that herbivores will eat only, this one, vegetation. And they don't, like, overrule. And tiger will eat, this living entity, rabbit, deer and stuff like that. And they perfectly follow the nature's rule. Only human beings problem. In fact, I was studying on this one. It is not from any Vedic, one paper on ecology, right? So long back, like some 15 years back, now I lost that paper. So in that, one ecologist actually had mentioned the ecosystem is perfectly done, and the food chain that is there, right? So it is perfect, it's very, very perfect. And if you just allow it to be there like that, so there will be no destruction, and there will be like, very nice, this one that will be happening. The only problem is human beings. When the human beings try to do something meddle around with the nature, it becomes a problem. Because see, we are not even a major part in the food chain. If human beings are not there, nothing will go wrong in the whole world. This also proves that human being is an evolved entity. He is not supposed to meddle around with this world. He is supposed to cultivate higher consciousness and supposed to prepare to go to a higher destination. That is a human being's job. Like if he comes and like meddles around this world, he will only create. I don't have a role in this place. I'm not supposed to meddle around with these guys. Rather, I should facilitate the natural food chain. Whatever is there. So that's perfect. So that should go on, right? So like the problem is that human beings come and put their this one.
Like Kshatriyas, they used to kill animals, right? The Kshatriyas will eat animals and all. So humans should not eat animals, right?
See, that is different varnas, different rules are there. If somebody is a like Chandala or something like that, the 5th grade, so they are allowed to eat non-veg. And then the Shudras also sometimes, they may. But then the Brahmanas will never. Even Kshatriyas will never eat. But then it is used as an apad dharma.
Okay.
It is used as a like emergency dharma. So if you are struggling to live and if you don't have any vegetation, then you are given the sanction, you can live, subsist on a lower living entity. But not when facility for eating vegetarian food is there. So still, I like kill an animal. So that is not sanctioned. And also for Kshatriyas, it is just like, if you see any medicine that is created, like first thing is they will administer to a pig, or some like this one to test the medicine, right? So because like we have to administer to the human being, so they are more costly, like so like but this one for getting the medicine out, we need to test. So then we use a lower form of the like living entity. So in the same way, for Kshatriyas, like they have to fight in the battle, and for that, the killing this one, so they are like allowed to kill, in the forest. So when the Pandavas were there in exile, so they used to like kill the wild animals in this one, and that too, like the wild animals when they become like too much disturbance and things like that, so they would kill, and otherwise also they would practice their archery and things like that. So then, like one time, Bhima and Arjuna, so they were like killing many animals. Then the sages came, and they like, no, aapka practice kafi hai, isse zyada mat maro. It is not very good, right? So in that way, like there is a particular level of allowance that is there, so they can practice their archery, through killing animals. So because of that particular varna, so they require that.
In Kali Yuga, there is no allowance, right?
In Kali Yuga?
In Kali Yuga, we should not eat
Yeah.
animals, right?
Not Kali Yuga, it's basically, see, the ISKCON's, this one that is there, is that unnecessary killing of animals is always it is prohibited. And if somebody cannot be trained in the Vedic system, so then he is called as Panchama, like Chandala or like Yavana and things like that. So they may actually indulge in that. So the civilized portion of this one, so they will not, like that. So we are trying to bring people to the civilized category. How much ever you try, some uncivilized people will always be there. So, but then the civilized portion, it is like they try to avoid because they want to cultivate a higher knowledge. Like until unless we stop animal killing, the higher aspect of like higher understanding will not actually come, for us. So that is why it is mentioned that those who are aspiring for going to a higher knowledge, so they can like avoid these things. Then they can actually cultivate a higher knowledge. Because more sinful we are, so more intelligence become clouded. So it will be difficult for us to understand spiritual subject matter. Any other question? Okay, so we will do the final portion of this towards the end of it. Okay, so this is our most important aspect. So understanding all this thing, we are part and parcel of the Lord. We are spirit, soul, we are living entities, part and parcel of the Lord. And by being part of the Lord, the most important thing is that we have to render service to the Lord. Just like this finger is a part of this body, And the role of this finger is like, it should assist this body, right? So in the same way, being part and parcel of the Lord, we are meant to actually serve the Supreme Lord. And how do we actually serve? So in the different ages, there are primary way of like serving, that is there in different ages, in the different methodologies. So Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnu, in the Satya Yuga, it is dhyana on the Supreme Lord. So like sitting in the meditation and performing dhyana. And then Tretaya Majato Makai, in the Treta Yuga, it is elaborate fire sacrifice. Dwapare Paricharyaya, so in the Dwapara Yuga, elaborate temple worship. And in Kalautat Harikirtana. So in Kali Yuga, the primary method of worship of the Supreme Lord is by the way of Harikirtana, right? So this is the most important this one. And amongst Harikirtana, so there are so many names of the Lord is there. So amongst them, which one to chant? So this is also mentioned. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kalikalmashanashanam Natah Paratropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So this Lord Brahma actually is mentioning this thing in the Kalishantana Upanishad. So he is telling Iti Shodashakam Namnam. So this 16-worded mantra, Kalikalmashanashanam. So this can destroy all the ill effects of Kali Yuga. Natah Paratropaya. There is no better solution than this. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So even if you search all the Vedic literatures, right? So this is the this one. So why do we specifically chant these names? Because this is the mantra that is advised to be chanted in this Kali Yuga, right? So there are like many names are there, but still this is more specifically apt for this time, right? So that is why we do that. So now we will try to chant Hare Krishna mantra. So, but we will do it in a little different way than what we were doing in the previous this ones. How many of you have come to our morning chanting session? Early morning? Sometime. So what we used to do, we used to chant in our own pace. No, we are not trying to sync up with everybody. We are trying to chant in our own pace. So the logic here is we should not be too loud and we should not be too soft. No, like how we should be able to hear our own sound and we should be able to hear others chanting also. With fibly, which like lightly. So how do I know like I'm chanting too loud? I'll not be able to hear others. Then I'm too loud. So how do I know like I'm chanting too low? Because I'm only able to hear others, I'm not able to hear my volume. So then we should try to optimize in such a way. We are not going to go in too much high volume. And then we should try to focus on every single sound vibration. It's very important. And all of you have beats. Anybody don't have? Okay, so we have some beats are there. So you can actually bring your beats when you come. So now, so this, like all of you might have heard this many times, but still like it is very worth to hear. So this hearing of the names of the Lord, actually many times people ask, like, how do you actually see the Lord? Have you had darshan of the Lord? So what is our answer to it? Have you had darshan of the Lord?
Connection between God.
So first is like we need to know like how to have darshan of the Lord, right? So how you experience the air?
By senses.
By the touch sensation you can actually experience the air. So in the same way, how do you actually get the experience of the Lord or have darshan of the Lord? So it is mentioned in the scriptures, Nama, Rupa, Guna and Leela. So this is the way of having darshan of the Lord. So first way of having darshan of the Lord is Nama. If you are able to chant nicely, chant legibly, and if you are able to hear every single syllable, that means it is essentially the darshan of the Lord. And if you have the darshan of the Lord, like then you will be happy. So these are all some of the symptoms. So if you are not able to, then you can pray to the Lord that, you see, I am trying to chant, but I am not able to fix myself on sound vibration. Okay. So nobody can say that now I'll concentrate and I will become fully focused on these names. It is not possible. Like maybe initially for some time it may be possible and after that it will not be possible. Why? Because this is as good as the Lord giving darshan to us. Until unless He agrees, this will not happen. He should become pleased with your endeavor, so that is when this will happen. So we should do this in a mood of prayer, do this in a mood of service. So my Lord, like this is a service I am trying to do. The service is that to clearly hear His names. No, that is the service. To clearly chant and to clearly hear. So when we do this thing, you will see that you'll find a lot of happiness when you do this properly. So when the Lord is pleased and He manifests Himself to you. Now, if that is not happening, then it will not be a very pleasurable experience, right? So that is the this one. So now let us try to chant the Panchatattva mantra together, and then we will come to. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद So now again, like we are going to chant in our own pace, like very low volume, not overpowering, not too much of volume. And it is a session of meditation. We have to go deeper into this aspect of hearing the sound vibration, right? So that is the key thing. And anytime you get distracted, you take a pause, you try to remember the Lord, you try to pray to Him that please be merciful, please give me this opportunity to hear your name. I want to be focused on this hearing, right? So this is what we are trying to do, right? So let's chant now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,